Good morning and good afternoon. Today is September 23rd, and welcome to Starboard Consulting Coffee Chat. We are thrilled today to be talking about Maximo Scheduler. With us today is Amy Tatum, Vice President of Starboard Consulting with more than 25 years of industry experience. She also has been our lead presenter for our whole series of coffee chats this summer. Amy, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you kicking things off, and welcome to everybody on the line with us. With us today, we have Lani Trotter. Lani is a functional lead architect in our company here at Starboard. Has been working with Maximo or with us for what, 7-8 years now, Lani?
That's correct, going on 8 years.
Yeah, does a lot of great work with our clients, and we appreciate all the knowledge that she brings to our team. And then also with us is Lori Pilgrim from IBM Canada. She's a product architect and manager working with Maximo for the last 23 years. So Lori, you've got me beat by about a year or two maybe. And she's been part of the scheduler team since 2013, back in the 752 version. So we're excited to have you with us today as well. Thank you both for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Good to be here.
So just a quick little background on Starboard Consulting. Those of you that are repeat customers of our webinars have learned this, but we are Maximo implementers and gold business partners with IBM. We are experts in everything Maximo: integrations, assessments, upgrades, implementations, training, support, you name it, we do it if it has anything to do with Maximo at all. So thanks again for joining us, and we've got a huge topic to talk about today. Scheduler is just a great product, and we've watched it grow from its infancy and clumsiness onto what it is today, so we're super excited about this latest release. So let's dive right in and talk a little bit about what's new. So Lori, tell us kind of the highlights. What are we looking at here?
Okay, so this is our 768 release that came out in July, and we're introducing 3 new applications. First, the Graphical Workweek, then the Graphical Resource View, and the Scheduler Data Manager. Now, those we'll go into more detail with in the next slides. Some other things that we did was give it a new look to all the applications, just refreshed fonts and colors and icons, just to make them a little softer, a little easier on the eye, that type of thing. We've added something called Export to Calendar for Graphical Assignment and Graphical Workweek, and that allows you to either download or email a person's assignments to them directly, and they can bring it into whatever mail server they use, and they can see it in their calendar. Inline editing, something we've been asked for a long time, being able to, like an Excel spreadsheet, being able to do the changes right in that table that we show you in our graphical views. And then we did some work on the rolling compliance, making it work in conjunction with rolling projects so that they complement each other when they're in use together. Optimization, there's been a large amount of changes going on with it. We've improved the performance of all the models we've rewritten in Java. We have a new model that we're introducing for graphical scheduling large project so that you can do those tens of thousands of records in scheduling. And then we've moved away from using the DOC server, which was a bit painful to install and get up and running. But now we've got our own, we call it Maximo Optimization Framework. And it's container-based, so very easy to install and get going very quickly. But it is its own product now. So.
Okay. Very good. Well, lots of great new things. Lani, I know you've had a lot of experience with clients succeeding and getting Scheduler up and running. And you've heard a lot of those pain points firsthand. So what are you most excited to see in this new release?
Well, I can't wait for folks to take a look at the Graphical Workweek and the visualization that is just so up front and center with it, and the instant recognition of what people are doing when they're doing it, who's available, who's off. I mean, the the way that's been put together is fabulous. And the data manager, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, I think is going to be very helpful to our clients in getting them their data scheduler ready, you might say.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of times that seems to be one of the sticky points of getting a successful implementation is just having that background data to support it. So
Right.
very exciting stuff. So let's dive in a little bit and look at each of these in a little bit more detail. So we'll start with the Graphical Workweek. Again, definitely a different view there. So Lori, what are we seeing here that's been revised, updated, improved?
Okay, so what we heard from our customers was, I want one app that does both scheduling and assigning. I want it simple. I have simple use cases. I don't care what time of day they do the work, just I want to fill a bucket of their day. And so we really base this on Assignment Manager. The top is about your work, the bottom is about your labor, but it's graphical. So we've made it as simple and easy to use as we could possibly think of. So hopefully our customers will agree with us. The ability to do long duration assignments, just like Assignment Manager, it'll come up with a dialogue, make sure you're happy with it being spread across multiple days, and do that work for you.
Now, is there any confusion with the Graphical Assignment Manager app and the Graphical Workweek being based off of Assignment Manager? That seems a little kind of like an anywhere, every place sort of scenario.
Yeah, I can see where you can say that. I think graphical assignment is still going to have its place, especially when we're talking about very time-sensitive appointments and contractors having to be met at a certain time and place within a certain window. Complex projects where you have dependencies between work orders, those are still going to be graphical assignment, and that's where they belong and will stay. But for those customers that just need, their supervisor to have an easy tool to fill 8 hours of their crew's day, this is the tool to use.
Fantastic. And graphical assignment still has the mapping function as well. So
exactly, for dispatching.
Yes. Routing, yeah, exactly. All right, cool. Lani, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, the long duration, the ability to stretch that work over graphically is amazing. Just you can see exactly how long, where it's going to land in the week. But I just love the color coding on the labor resource view. Just the greens and the blues just tell you so much about what's going on and who's available and the amount of hours and such that are available. So that's just really what and the ability to modify availability there too. And, change someone's assignment. If they call in sick, quickly change it to somebody else. That's one of the big ones right there for me.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. All right, so moving on, we've also got a new graphical resource view, and my first glance at this screenshot, I'm like, my gosh, it looks like some sort of video game or something that I should be like connecting dots and making boxes fall away. But I know that's not the intent, so tell us about this one.
Not the intent. So we've taken the functionality that we put here and put it in Graphical Workweek as well. So when you're just working with your own crew, but that's kind of the day of, right? So, but here's more of a planning tool. So talking about vacations, it's people only get 3 weeks in a year or 4 weeks in a year, being able to just switch between 1 month and the other month and giving them a week's worth of vacation just by double clicking. Giving them a good way to see how many hours of a certain craft they have per day so that, they don't short themselves based on vacations and based on planned sick time or anything, or meetings. All of those can be set up here, and you can get a count of what hours you have per day for your craft. You can also, quickly find out what their vacation time is for the year. Maybe they're asking for another week and they only have 4 days left, right? So you can look those things up. You can also check, just by reason codes of their modified availability if you want to see how many sick days they've taken. That's the kind of tool this one is.
Okay. And similar colors here, lots of blues and greens and stuff. I assume the theming behind that is the same.
Yes, we've actually added a color legend for both these apps, so you can quickly find out what each of the colors mean. And they're all configurable, of course. You can make the colors whatever you like.
Okay. So Lani, you don't need your cheat sheet any longer.
I don't need my cheat sheet. I love the legend idea. I always had to keep the colored cheat sheet nearby to know what things meant. So this is fantastic. And purple is time off or vacation, and so that's easily to see that someone's not available that week. It's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. All right. And then the data manager. I mean, to me, this one is the winner. Just knowing, having to walk people through, coaching them, setting up their job plans and calendars and all of that kind of information. So how is this going to simplify life for all of us?
Well, we've heard the pain points from yourselves as well as customers directly. The idea is that we want to give the tool in the hands of the users so that they can quickly find out why their schedule doesn't appear. Maybe they have work orders that aren't coming in. Maybe they have no planned resources. They have no priority on it, and that's required for being able to schedule. Every customer is going to have different things that are important to them to figure out how to schedule or assign work, and we're just going to look at all the best practices here and tell you what's wrong with it, and not just tell you, validate and give you errors on it, but allow you to fix it in line right here. So you don't have to go back to work with tracking.
All right.
Nice.
Lani, I know you've got some use cases of pain points to solve. What are they?
Well, the inline, the ability to, in the data manager wise, the ability to fix the problem, right? If 20 of my work orders don't have a priority, the ability to update that right there on this screen. I'm not going to each individual work order. That's definitely a plus for sure. The just knowing like what's missing. There are mysteries that are solved by looking at what Maximo has already analyzed in advance for you, instead of you going to your schedule and saying, why is Maximo saying that starts on that day, when I'm pretty sure, because Maximo uses logic in the background. It takes 2 or 3 layers of logic to determine when a job's going to start. And if I'm not giving Maximo any information, then Maximo is going to give you whatever it believes and thinks it should be. It might like start today because you haven't put any dates, those kinds of things. So the ability to see that up front and be able to say, oh, that's why I didn't put a duration on my work order, and so no wonder I'm not seeing that it's going to take a week to perform. So things that are just like up front and center that are easy for customers to edit and just realize, is just all those tools are very welcomed. And I want to go back real quick and make a comment on the calendar export, because I cannot tell you how many customers have ever said, well, can you just send those work orders to my calendar, because I would like to know, I'd like to open my email and see what I'm doing today. And it's like, that's a gigantic enhancement for schedulers and field crews alike.
Yeah, we've certainly heard the request from our customers. Scheduler is a big proponent of the request for enhancement tool that IBM has, and with this release, we closed 26 RFEs with about 87 votes on them. So the export to calendar was one of the high ones for sure.
Yeah. So I think we should rename the scheduler data manager to the magic decoder ring.
Yes, I like that.
That's really what it is. I mean, it just takes all the mystery out of, why is my schedule not doing what I think it should be doing? So right. I think that's just great.
That's great.
So I think we've got a little bit of time. Lori, are you able to show us some live samples of what we're seeing here?
I'm going to do a little demo, and hopefully you can see my screen now.
We can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, excellent. So this is Graphical Workweek, and it might look a little busy, but it's really, if you think about it, your work's on the top, and it's going to show you, the list plus a Gantt, where it's just really showing you the duration of that work. And on the bottom, we have that list of by grouped by your craft or your crew types and the people or crews that can do the work. And so we've also added this allocation number. So we're going to see as we fill a person's week how that number changes. And we talked about this color coding. So if I click on this, it's going to tell you out of the box, these are the colors that you get for the reason codes that you get with Maximo. And so you can see here what those are when they're color coded in these cells. And then the allocation numbers. Again, these are configurable both by, you know, what percent or what percentage you want to have the colors change and what colors you actually use to represent them. So if we look over here, we actually can see, if I mouse over, you can see that I have vacation from 9 to 5 on that shift for this person. And this one's a little triangle, so it's telling me it's a partial. So if I leave my thing there, it's going to tell me they're working 2 hours extra time from 5 to 7 p.m. So you don't even have to open anything. The hover's going to tell you that.
Nice.
Now, so we talk about this being twofold, scheduling and assigning. So if I want to do some scheduling, and the thing to remember is that we have a system property that syncs the scheduled dates to our assignments. So you'll need to put that on. But if I want to look at doing some scheduling, if I just collapse and only look at my schedule or my crafts and my crew types, we can see what the load and availability is on that line, okay? So what we're looking at is that on the Monday for my carpenters, I have 42 hours and 50 minutes assigned or scheduled and only 24 hours available. So obviously I'm not going to get all that work done on the Monday, but as we look at our week, somewhere in that week, I'm going to get time for those 45 hours. But if we look at our overhead line crews, we might look and say, I don't think I'm going to fit that into that week. So let's look at what maybe I can move off to another week. So if I select my overhead line crew and I turn on my, my filter here that filters my work to only the work orders that are for that crew type in this case, I'm going to see all of the work that is available. I might then take my work order priority and just say, okay, I'm going to look at my lowest priorities, my 9s, and I'm going to look at moving those off. So I might just say, okay, there's not that many of them, so I'm just going to go ahead and select them all, and I'm going to say set work today, and I'm going to move it to the next week. You'll notice my data is out in the future, but that's because I don't want to set it up every time. So if I move it the following Monday, then next week I'll deal with those lower priority ones because I don't think I'm going to have time. No. And as you can see, as I move that, I now have less hours required in that crew type on the Monday. So I think I can probably get the rest done here. So maybe I'm done with scheduling. So I'm just going to take and open that back up so I can see my people. So I'm going to take this one at a time. I'm going to look at my carpenters and I'm going to look at all the assignments. Currently, there's no assignments for any of them. I'm going to turn my filter on and I've only got carpenter work here. Okay. So if I look at the durations, I can probably get this done by one person during that week, right? So if I select them all, or I could just select ones individually, and I can just double click on the Monday and have all of these work orders assigned during that week. So it's telling you that it's starting on the Monday and it goes to Tuesday. And so it's just 2 days worth of work. So I say, okay, and you can see I have 0 hours left available on the Monday and I have 1 hour and 15 left on Tuesday. The rest of the week's still pretty good. Now, if we get into the day of Monday and Adina calls in sick, I can just say, okay, she's sick, double click here, and now I have a -8. So that means that I've got an issue and I need to find out what's going on. So if I select her, oh, and I didn't point out that allocation changes as you make those assignments, right? So if I select her and I have to take away my filter. So that was my problem. I probably had more carpenters to assign, but these are all the ones that are assigned for Adina. And if I sort by the day, I can find, try that again. I can find the work orders that were assigned to her. So I can just select all of the ones on the Monday and reassign them to somebody else by double clicking on them. Or I can just right click on this and just say unassign all, right? And then obviously, because I've got all these filters going, it's hopping up and down a little bit. But you can see that now there's no problem on that day, but I still have some work to be assigned. Okay. Any questions around that quick demo on Graphical Workweek?
I just think that those things just flow so well, and you've not left a screen. You didn't have to go from scheduler to assignment. There's all the best of both worlds are right there. Some of those very streamlined commands that you're doing will be very welcome. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do one long duration work order here, just because I hadn't shown that. We did show work orders being spread across multiple days. And if I select this one, you can see that it's 135 hours. It's going to go on for weeks, right? Yeah. So all I have to do is find, and again, we're highlighting the people with the right skills to do this. So it's requiring electrician first class. If I double click on the Monday, it's going to give me all the assignments, right? Sorry, the date format threw me off there. So it's through to July, and so you can see that it's going to fill up a few weeks of his time. I just click on OK, and it goes ahead and assigns, and you can see there that I have no availability this week for them. And if I go to the next week, and I look at them again, sorry, I had to do a refresh there. And they have no availability in the next week. And that's all because of that, okay?
Okay.
So I think we still, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say one of the questions that has come in is whether or not Scheduler is available on any preview sites.
It is. There is a preview site, and I will give you the link to post if you like.
All right.
Okay, yeah. But if you go to the community, which also has a link, there is a post there about the preview site.
That's right. Then the Scheduler community is fantastic. There's a lot of good information that's shared on that, and a lot of good discussion between Scheduler users. So
wonderful. Yeah, we try to keep adding content as we get questions. We try and put it out there so it's available to everybody. I'm just going to go into Graphical Resource View here and do a little bit more. And all this function is available within Graphical Workweek as well. But here you can view a week at a time, but we find the month is what the customers really wanted. So we're doing all of September. It'll go into the current month. You can go ahead and pick a different month if you want. So if I picked October and select the date there, we'll just switch to October. Don't you hate that when it does that? I'm just going to go back. We'll try this again. There we go. Okay, so we have September. And, you know, it's new apps, so we do find bugs, so we're fixing them.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, we have that color coding here where you can do this. And what's pretty cool is that if I want to say everybody, and what's interesting here is that you can give a letter or a few letters to indicate, especially with rotating shifts, what shift they're on, right? So A shift doesn't tell me anything. So this is telling me that I'm on afternoons that week, I'm on nights the next week, I'm on days the following week. And so I can see which shift is doing what hours type thing. So if I want to give, say, all of the people on A shift, so I'll select multiple people on A shift, and on their afternoon shift, I'm going to set a meeting. So I want to give a reason code of meeting. And this time I'm going to do a partial day because it's just a couple hours, right? So if I go ahead and click on their day, I can say that they're doing, sorry, I clicked on, oh yeah, okay. So if I want to say that their meeting is from 1600 to 1800 and say, okay, then we'll get these little triangles here that indicate they've got. And what you'll also notice is that my availability has changed, right? So that's just letting you know that for this craft on that day, I don't have as many hours because I've got this meeting selected.
Okay.
And, you know, doing a full week of vacation is just as simple as picking vacation full week and coming over here, and he wants his night shift off. So you double click, it comes up and does that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So much easier.
And if you want to know, you know, somebody's asking for some more vacation time and you want to see what their availability is, you can come in here and you can filter by the reason code. In this case, I only have 11 records, are all vacation. But, you know, they only have 15 vacation days, so they're asking for 5 more. So we'll have to talk about that, right? So we're trying to make it easy for you to really plan, you know, your resources at that level.
Okay. And that vacation availability would also be an opportunity to tie in with an HR payroll type system and get a, you know, real-time view of their allocation and what's left, and then compare that against the plan as well. So some good opportunities there. Very good. Well, we've only got a couple minutes left. So is there anything else that you wanted to show us real quick in the next 2 minutes?
I was going to try and show you Scheduler Data Manager, but I don't know if we have time. So I'm going to go there real quick. So from any of the applications, you can just go there directly, or under administration, you can go there. And it's just really giving you the ability to validate, you know, that you have the work periods from your calendar, that your queries are well formed and are returning, you know, in this case, number of records. In the work orders, it's telling you, you know, that you have an error. And if I scroll over, it's telling me that my durations are different. So if I open up the plans tab, I can see here that I have 16 hours and this is saying 4. So I can just go ahead and change my plan to 4, say okay, and when I revalidate, it's okay.
Okay. We've got a couple of questions that have come in. One is if you can also track overtime.
Yes, I didn't show that, but yes, you can put overtime in your modified availability.
Okay. And then the second, so specifically for Lori, how do you recommend handling people who don't work in an ABC shift schedule? So if you've got folks that are maybe doing a split shift, they're a couple hours in the morning and some more time in the afternoon, or their shift varies from day to day, that type of environment.
I mean, if your work doesn't require them to do work at a specific time, then I would just set up a shift with the number of hours they work in the day. You know, it might not, you know, it's flexible, so it might not be 9 to 5, but if it's flexible, but it's still 8 hours. And then when you're assigning, you're just assigning that 8 hours worth of work.
Okay. Very good. All right. And last question before we close, would you consider this a good solution for tracking contracted workers? I would think yes.
Absolutely.
Not any different than internal workers, really. We've actually got some clients who track their contracted workers using these types of tools. So
right. It just requires you to put your external workers in Maximo labor.
Yeah.
But,
have them as laborers in Maximo. Yep.
Exactly.
Right. Well, thank you, ladies, very much. This is our final coffee chat of the series. So as the first day of fall was earlier this week, and some of our northern clients are seeing some cooler temperatures and pumpkin spice lattes are out, we're going to shut down the coffee chats, you know. But we're excited. We've got some things in the works, some new ideas that we're brewing. So watch for those to come out soon. If you missed any of the coffee chats over the summer, you can visit our website and get replays of all of those. And if you've got some ideas or requests or suggestions of things you'd like to see Starboard bring to you in the future, please put those in the chat window, and we'd be happy to put those in the queue for something we might do here in the near future. But again, Lani, Lori, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it, and we're excited about this new release for sure.
Good seeing you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Alex, back to you.
Thank you, ladies. What a fantastic overview. So much information presented in such a short time. We really appreciate it. The link is in the chat window. If you want to watch any of the webinars on demand, we'd love for you to be able to listen and watch and learn. And also, we do want to hear from you. What would you like to hear us for future webinars, for future trainings? We'd love your feedback. Thank you all for joining us for the Coffee Chat series. Lani, Lori, Amy, thank you very much. We will be sharing a copy of the presentation and the link, and we hope you all have a fantastic day.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.